The wind screamed across the plains, carrying the stink of dust and blood. Emma Darnell's cry ripped through the dusk, so raw it silenced the birds in the cottonwoods. Her wrists were pinned to the dirt floor of her cabin, her cheek pressed into the cold, gritty earth. A heavy boot dug into her lower back, relentless. Behind her, Wade, her husband, was screaming too, his voice cracking as he begged, "Emma! Emma!" Each cry cut her like a knife, but she couldn't move. 3 men, shadowy, ruthless, tore through their home. One held her down. Another trashed the kitchen, smashing glass and kicking over chairs. Pots crashed to the floor, their metallic clangs mixing with Wade's pleas. The third, a hulking brute with a busted nose, beat Wade with a shovel. The cracks of bone and wood came fast, then stopped. Silence dropped like a stone. Wade's voice was gone. The leader, voice rough as gravel, barked, "Where's the gold?" Emma didn't answer. Her mouth was full of blood and dirt, her mind spinning. They ripped out drawers, hurled books against the walls, pried up floorboards with crowbars. Nothing. "She's lying," the busted-nosed man growled. He said he had a stash. "Find it." They dragged Emma to the back room, slamming her against the wall. Her legs buckled, blood soaking her dress from a gash in her side. She was fading, but something fierce kicked in. As one turned to rummage a trunk, she lunged for the window. Glass shattered, slicing her arm. She didn't feel it. She ran, branches clawing her face, lungs burning as the last sunlight bled out. Behind her, boots pounded, curses filled the air, gunshots cracked. She didn't look back. Half a mile on, the trees opened, and Luke Ramsey's ranch stretched out before her. Emma collapsed at the gate, arms wrapped around a wooden crate, old, heavy, stained. She didn't remember grabbing it, but it was her lifeline now. Luke, hammering iron at his forge, heard the crash. Dropping his tongs, he turned, froze. Emma knelt in the dirt, dress torn, blood on her cheek, hair matted with sweat, clutching the crate like it was her child. "Luke," she whispered, eyes wild. "They killed him. They're coming." Then she passed out. Luke lifted her, her body light as fear. Inside his cabin, he laid her on a bench by the hearth, pressing a clean towel to her side. "Water whiskey," he muttered, moving fast. The wound wasn't deep, but enough to leave a trail, enough for men to track. His eyes flicked to the crate. What was worth risking her life for? The wind picked up and hooves echoed in the distance. 3 men, armed and pissed, were closing in. Luke knew they'd taken one life. Would they take another? Or would Emma see that some men don't run from a fight? To flesh out the scene, let's add Hank, a ranch hand with German roots, who came to the West after escaping Europe's unrest in the 1840s. Hank was in the barn, fixing a harness when Emma hit the ground. Hearing the noise, he stepped out, his weathered face lit by the forge's glow. "What's the trouble, Luke?" he asked, his voice tinged with an old country accent. Luke, holding Emma, said, "Big trouble, Hank. They killed Wade. 3 men headed here." Hank's eyes narrowed. "Damn," he muttered, grabbing a pitchfork. "We gotta protect her." Luke nodded, carrying Emma inside. Hank followed, grumbling, "Those bastards, like wolves." Inside, Luke set Emma by the hearth. Hank knelt, checking her pulse. "She's alive, but weak," he said. He grabbed water, soaking a cloth to clean her wounds. Luke handed him the whiskey. "Give her some when she wakes," Emma stirred, coughing. Her eyes opened, landing on Hank. "Who are you?" she rasped, maybe catching his accent from some neighbor she once knew. "Friend Mrs. Darnell, Hank Mueller." "I work with Luke," he said softly. She nodded weakly, wincing as Luke pressed the cloth to her side. "Easy," Luke said, bleeding slowing. He glanced at the crate still in her arms. "What's in that box, Emma?" "No clue," she whispered. "Just grabbed it, Wade. Hid it under the table." Luke and Hank swapped looks. "Could be gold," Hank said. Luke shook his head. "If it's gold, it's trouble." Hooves grew louder outside. Hank stood, gripping the pitchfork. "They're here, Luke. What's the plan?" Luke grabbed his rifle, checked the chamber. "Stay with her, Hank. I'll handle it." "Watch your back," Hank warned. Luke stepped out, wind tugging his hat. 3 men rode up, 2 on horseback, 1 on foot with a shotgun. The leader, the busted-nosed man, grinned. "Evening, Ramsey. Looking for a lady. Pretty, hurt, carrying something of ours." Luke's voice was steady. "She ain't here," the man laughed. "Blood trail says different." "Then make sure it's hers before you follow it," Luke said, cold as steel. Hank, at the window, muttered, "He's poking the bear." The shotgun man raised his weapon. Luke moved first. A shot rang from the forge's shadows, then another. Sparks flew as a bullet hit the anvil. Horses screamed, men shouted. Inside, Hank pulled Emma to a trap door Luke had pointed out. "Down quick," he urged. Emma hesitated, then climbed into the hider's hole, clutching the crate. Hank covered it with a rug, snuffing the lantern. The fight ended fast. Luke returned, smoke trailing him. He opened the trap door. "It's done," he said. Emma climbed out, shaking. "All of them?" "One's alive," Luke said. He dragged the busted-nosed man inside, blood oozing from his chest. Hank lit the lantern. "Why Wade?" Luke demanded. The man coughed, spitting blood. "He owed us gold." "In the barn." Hank frowned. "Gold here?" Luke and Emma searched the barn, finding a hidden trapdoor. Inside, a chest of gold coins gleamed. Emma gasped. "He was gonna surprise me," she whispered. "Said we'd buy land out west." The sheriff rode up, tipped his hat, and left with a warning to bury the gold. Luke and Emma buried Wade the next morning, the sun warming his grave. Hank stood by, murmuring, "Rest easy." Weeks later, Emma stayed, helping Luke and Hank rebuild. The gold was hidden again, a secret for a fresh start. Hank shared stories by the fire, his accent softening as he spoke of his old home. "Life's hard here, but honest," he said. The night fell quiet. Luke and Emma sat by the hearth, the crate between them, its weight a reminder of loss and what was gained. The town spun their tale, the widow who ran through the dark, the soldier who stood his ground, the gold that nearly broke them but bound them instead. Sometimes, what tries to destroy you teaches you how to live. The sun was just up when Luke found Emma on the porch, staring at the horizon. Her dress was patched, her face bruised but healing, her eyes clearer. Hank was in the barn, humming an old tune, part sorrow, part hope. Luke leaned against the railing, coffee steaming in the chill air. "Thinking about Oregon?" he asked. Emma shook her head. "Thought about it. Don't want gold or land now, just peace." Luke nodded. "Peace is tougher to find than gold, but it shows up when you ain't looking." She gave a small smile, the first real one in weeks. "You sound like Wade. Big talk, small promises." Luke chuckled. He wasn't wrong to dream, just told the wrong folks. Hank stepped from the barn, wiping his hands. "Morning, folks. Wagon's fixed. We moving that crate today?" Emma glanced at Luke. "Not yet," she said. "Let's keep it put. No sense tempting fate." Hank nodded. "Smart. Gold's as much curse as blessing." Days turned to weeks. The ranch became a haven. Emma took to fixing fences, her hands growing tough but steady. Luke worked the forge, shaping iron like it was breathing. Hank kept things running, his quiet strength a comfort. They didn't talk much about that night, but it lingered. Between hammer strikes, in the creak of the porch swing, in Emma's glance at the crate when she thought no one saw. One evening, as the sun painted the sky in fire, a rider approached. Luke's hand went to his rifle, but the man raised both hands unarmed. "Sheriff McCready," he called. "Checking in." Luke eased up, waving him through. The sheriff dismounted, boots stirring dust. "Talk in town," he said. "Folks saying Wade's gold was real. Watch your backs." Emma stepped forward, voice firm. "No gold here, Sheriff. Just us, trying to live." McCready studied her, nodded. "Fair enough. Keep that rifle close, Ramsey." When he left, the night hushed. Luke turned to Emma. "You meant that?" "About the gold?" She met his eyes. "Meant it. Don't want it, but I'll be damned if anyone else gets it." Luke grinned. "That's the spirit." Hank by the barn laughed. "She's tougher than us, Luke." Months passed. The ranch thrived, not from gold, but grit. Emma planted a garden, her hands in the dirt like a prayer. Luke taught her to shoot. Hank built a new fence, whistling old tunes. One night by the fire, Emma opened the crate. The coins gleamed. She picked one up, turned it over, set it back. Wade wanted a future, she said. Maybe this is it. Not the gold, but what we do with it. Luke nodded. Could sell it. Start new. Or stay, Emma said. Build something here. For Wade. Hank raised his cup. To Wade, and not letting the bastards win. They drank, the fire crackling, the night wide around them. The town kept telling their story, adding bits. Emma running like a deer, Luke downing 3 men with 2 shots, the gold cursed or blessed, depending on the teller. But the real story was simpler. 2 people, broken by loss, finding a reason to keep going. And a third, a stranger turned kin, reminding them home was who you fought for. So maybe that's the lesson. What if the pain you're running from shapes you? What if the fire that burns you lights your path? The ranch stood quiet under the stars, and Emma Darnell felt something like hope.